Well, the Mersey Basin campaign covers the area from the Irish Sea right the way to the Pennines. It's got two major conurbations of Merseyside and Greater Manchester, plus large areas of Cheshire and Lancashire. So you're talking there of something between 5 and 6 million people. Michael Heseltine, who was the Secretary of State for the Environment under Mrs Thatcher in the early 1980s, came to Liverpool in the wake of the Toxteth riots and very quickly decided that the River Mersey was actually a disgrace to Merseyside, that if you were thinking of future economic development, you couldn't hope to do that if the river was in the state that it was.
The Mersey got to me. I was there for 3 weeks, and my hotel room overlooked the Mersey. And I saw this huge, majestic river flowing through this great British city. And I just felt ashamed that this was the river that had given life to that part of England. It was the source of the wealth. Without it, there would have been no Liverpool. And yet, we had treated it with total and utter contempt and disinterest. It was an open sewer. And I just felt deeply sad that we hadn't realized what an enormous, valuable source it was. And that's where the idea came. We must make good the degradation of decades, centuries.
Water was very important to a lot of activity, a lot of industry and wealth. I think this is probably one of the problems. Because the mills have closed down and these iron foundries have gone, they think the river's not needed anymore. From then on, people didn't want to know the river. It was hidden, it was buried, it was dirty, it was full of industrial waste from the mills, and they really didn't want it anymore.
To change from a busy river into a river with no life, and it was so polluted. The water was so thick it was like liquid coal, and it had what we call Mersey tadpoles in it. And great big balls of fat that used to come from the margarine works. It really was disgusting when we first started sailing. The difference now is quite fantastic, obviously, because of the clean-up that's taken place, and we can now see our feet when we stand in the water. We want to see that water covered with people in canoes, windsurfers, dinghies, powerboats, jet skis, or whatever. As long as the people are out enjoying themselves, behaving themselves, and they're safe, that is the aim.
I used to walk along the promenade when I was a lot younger, and I seen what was floating down the river, and it wasn't very nice. I wouldn't have swam in it 20 years ago, let's put it that way, but I'm quite happy with swimming in it now. It had this reputation. People from other parts of the country would sort of call it, if you like, because it's an open sewer and what have you. It's getting cleaned up now, and I can swim across it because it's so clean.
The last 10 years it's cleaned up a heck of a lot. I think personally the fishing has improved. We're getting bigger fish and bigger species and different species coming up the river now, whereas we've never had them before. It's probably one of the best fishing venues in the winter in the whole of the British Isles. There's anglers from far and wide that come to the River Mersey to fish it.
The river is so clear now compared with when I started, because environment people have really, the utilities people have really cleaned up their act. It's 50% cleaner. It's got to be, maybe more. You're seeing all sorts of different things. You see porpoise in the river now. There's even salmon reported last year. That's just proving the pun. The seals are in. It's commonplace now to see a seal just lying on its back eating one of the flatfish, honestly.
Along the Liverpool coastline from Crosby to Speke, where we got rid of about 28 untreated discharges and diverted it to a treatment plant. And that again had a huge impact on the quality of the river.
All of this has happened because of collaborative working. I mean, no one organisation could have done it all. But I think our approach to partnership working and breaking down barriers between organisations is something quite special. And we keep going back to the point that water is what's made it possible. And had that been desperately polluted, catching fire, toxic, and with dead fish floating past, none of this could possibly have happened. It would have been a complete fantasy.
I can't think of any project throughout the United Kingdom that has had the impact that the Mersey Basin campaign has had. It wasn't a question of making something pretty or making it attractive. It was getting the basics right so that you could actually regenerate a region. The fact that we'd done it over 25 years across one of the biggest regions in the country, the fact that we've achieved what we had, and we can take real pride in the sort of projects that have gone on next to the river, which could only have happened because of the campaign.